What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Vitamin Lead, your healthy dose of leadership. I'm your host, TJ Reed, and today we're talking about 50 years. Oh, crap! Let me give you a little bit of context around that. When I was in my early 20s, I got a great job at a great church in Long Island, New York. And I remember maybe about a month into it, as a young guy, this was my first job out of college, I sat down at my desk and I just thought to myself, this is my life for the next 50 years of my life. Oh, crap. And it wasn't that the job was bad or too hard or anything like that, but it felt like an impending doom because I didn't think well about work or what my purpose was in work. And so that's kind of what I want to do today is I want to talk a little bit about, what's your view on work? If you're having that moment right now like I did in my early 20s, how can you really begin to process that? Because there's a few things that come into play when it comes to that, and I want to make sure that you're not missing opportunities because you maybe have a wrong mindset. The first question is really simple, especially if you're not just working for yourself, but you have a spouse or a family or you have kids. The first one is just a simple question of survival. Do you need to have this job right now to survive? Survival is definitely something that if you're the one, male or female, whoever it is, that's providing for your family, sometimes you just have to grit it out in certain seasons. It's not a great long-term solution if you have ways to take steps to improve your situation, but sometimes that's just where you're at. It's a question of survival. And so you want to ask yourself that, right? Is it a question of survival? Okay, great. For this season, I know I just need this job and I'm just going to grit it out at this point. But then second of all, you really start to ask yourself the question of strengths, right? Does this job exhibit my strengths? Because the fact is if the job that you're in, all it does is point out your weaknesses and you're constantly bombarded with your weaknesses day in and day out. Some people just like to be martyrs like that. But if you're constantly bombarded with your weaknesses, it takes a great toll on your mental and physical health. And so you should consider that, right? That if you're not finding that and it's continually assaulting you like that, maybe it's time to look for something different with your work. But you might be asking yourself, does this really exhibit my strengths? And it does. Awesome. Then you should find ways, as long as you continue to grow, that should be a place that you continue to pour into and lean into as much as possible. So ask yourself that question of strengths. And then the last one that I'll say today, by no means, like I always say, is this list exhaustive. But the third one I would say is ask yourself, is it a question of season? There are some times that you're in seasons of work where it's meant to grow you, right? You ever been in those before? Where it's uncomfortable, but you're growing. And so that's really important to recognize those sorts of things, that you're uncomfortable but growing. Or sometimes you're there because you're there to encourage somebody else or to help develop somebody else. That it's not just always about us, but there could be a reason that we're there for someone else's sake. So look at those three questions. These might help you kind of develop a parameter for the work that you do. Is it a question of survival? By all means, work, because work is good and you're providing for your family. Question of strengths. I'll tell you what, I didn't share this story before, but I was in a job that I just felt beat down about my leadership ability, to the point that I got to a point where I said, I don't want to be a leader anymore. And what's been amazing about the job that I'm currently in and the organization I'm currently in is it's helped to rebuild that for myself. But so often before, I was leaning into my weaknesses and feeling that I wasn't great at this stuff. But a great organization can help you to build yourself back up, even when you haven't believed in yourself up to this point. So questions of survival, questions of strength, and then question of season. Is it your season to be there to either grow uncomfortably at times or to help somebody else grow? That's why you're there. Now, one final thing. For those of you that have been miserable in job for a long time and you find yourself continually going through these seasons of being miserable, looking, and then giving up again, let's slap ourselves awake right now, okay? It is hard work to land a job, even in a great economy. You have to spend time building resumes, getting on LinkedIn. If you haven't done that before, get on LinkedIn. If nothing else, you start to meet people that are either in your same industry or that could help you get into that industry there. You want to get around people who do the type of work you want to do or are doing and begin to network. I know how easy it is to get away from that stuff. I have an almost 3-year-old, and it was hard to get myself ramped back up to wanting to go out and into the land of the living in the evenings. But I've been doing it the last couple months. I've been going to meet new people who are doing exciting things and beginning to network. And so let me encourage you to do that. Stop the cycle of inaction. Stop binging Netflix and do something. You can do it. I believe in you. Man, work is so important. We spend half of our waking life doing it. So don't do something that you find yourself miserable in every single day. You have power. You have self-efficacy. You can do something about it. If you want help, man, please reach out to me. vitaminleadteam@gmail.com. I have been through unemployment for a year of unemployment, which we're going to talk about in our next episode. I've been through this stuff before, and I want to help you. Free of charge, no strings attached. I want to help you to grow in this. So if you're feeling that, if you want to grow, you feel like there's some shifting and transitioning happening with you, please reach out. I would love to hear from you. Thank you, friends. I hope you've been enjoying this. This has been Vitamin Leads, your healthy dose of leadership. Have a great day. Bye-bye.